Hi, I'm Paul Dickson, and I'm here to talk about military food, which is not a commonly discussed subject, even on YouTube. In 1978, I was approached by an editor in New York, one of the only times I've ever written a book based on somebody else's suggestion. But at that point, there was a huge outpouring of specialty cookbooks. Time-like cookbooks came out, and there would be food of the Danube and food of the Viennese turn of the century and and there were these lavish, wonderful pictorial books about different kinds of food, and the Americans were discovering these cuisines. And we decided to do a parody on all these fancy cookbooks, and we decided to do a book on military food and called Chow. And what happened between the time I started working on it, I began to realize that it was really a serious subject, that a lot of developments in food actually came from the military. Instant coffee came out of the Civil War. Canned goods for the military came out of Napoleon's army. The TV dinner of post-World War II was actually a meal that was prepared for the people in the bombers. They would take it up with them in the bombers. But it ended up being a lot of fun. A lot of people got the gag, like Esquire magazine and others. And the book is now a collector's item. I've been offered it upwards of $100 for a single copy because it was it did not, the public did not gravitate to it. It was just but in doing the book, I put together which I consider a rather remarkable collection of photography, much of which from World War II, of how we developed food for the military. And these are again, they go. It's just a remarkable. Here's a picture of the Civil War, but it was a lot about the South Pacific, how we fed troops in the South Pacific, how we developed C rations, K rations. Maynard Keyes developed the K ration, and they're all original photographs, Army photographs with the original stenciling on them. A lot of them are in combat. A lot of them are, of the time in the World War II. And there are hundreds of them. And a lot of them have to do with morale food. Ice cream. There are probably 20, 25 photographs of the troops making ice cream during the war. And that was probably the biggest morale food for troops stationed overseas. And there was actually, a sidebar to that, there were two guys in the Supply Corps named Baskin and Robbins. And they couldn't get, they were in the South Pacific, and they couldn't get the normal strawberry, vanilla, and chocolate. So they started making ice cream with mango and coconut, and they came back, and that became the basis of the Baskin-Robbins chain of ice cream company. So again, it's food history, it's military history. It's not for everybody, but I just find the collection, you probably could never put it together again today because the Army doesn't keep this kind of thing anymore. These were all printed, they're either original or printed for me by the Army from original negatives. And again, it's a story of sort of how America got things done in wartime. These are some of the original rations. And this is what kept these guys alive. And they're, again, I'm sort of lost for words. Here's something where they're actually sending food through a shell and behind enemy line. They're actually sending, I can't remember which, there were rations being sent by cannon. And here's one of General Eisenhower after the invasion of Europe in the field, having lunch somewhere in the countryside at wartime. And here's a guy in a suit. I don't know why I love this, showing you how to carve some huge piece of beef. So again, and movie stars having lunch with the troops, and there are quite a few. There are hundreds of these, and I think they're a lot of fun. And I'd love to see them find a great home. There could be some great book come out of these. They could go be part of a museum show. But it's an awful lot about how we feed people and how we were able to fight the war, the can-do spirit we expressed, mostly in World War II, but there's other material in here about other wars. And it is what it is. I can't. So, thank you.